Hi, this is Keir from Shopify. Today we're going to have a look at the if statement in Liquid Logic. If you've worked with Shopify themes at all, you've most likely come across the if statement. It's a really powerful way of dictating kind of the flow of your template. It's effectively asking a question. If the question is true, do this, or otherwise do that. It's a really, really useful thing. Let's have a look at where you may have come across this already. Let's have a look in the theme. Okay, so in our layout file, straight off the bat, we have an if statement here. If the template equals, now this is what we call an operator, and these can be anything from equals, and please note that the syntax here is double equals for comparison. It could be greater than, less than. We could ask whether the piece of text that we're evaluating contains certain words or certain letters, that kind of stuff. To work out which operators are available to you, just have a quick look in the cheat sheet there. This is cheat.markdunkley.com, and on the left hand side you've got the operators, so equals, not equal, bigger than, less than, bigger or equal, less or equal, or, and contains. These will really serve you very, very well during your theme development. So let's just go back to the actual markup here, and what we're actually saying at the beginning here is, notice that we've got the logic delimiters here, the curly brace and the percentage. If the current template, and Shopify will know which template it's about to render based on the URL, if it's index, then we want to output this particular title tag syntax. Then if that's not true, then we'll go on and we'll say else if the template equals 404, then put out this particular title tag. So we're asking another question. If it's neither of those, then let's put out our default title tag contents here. You must always remember to close your end if as well. So that's a really, really simple example of an if statement. Now, where else might we find one? Well, let's have a look in our product page. Here's another example of using the if statement when we're checking for our variant. We're saying if variant.available, now that will return a true or a false value, whether your variant has stock or not, equals true. Then if it is, then let's show the current visitor that they can actually buy that by selecting the option value from the select list there. Again, really, really simple way of using an if statement. There's a couple of other ways that you can do it as well. So let's show you how we could use contains. So on our product page, I'm just going to start an if statement. So if product.handle. Now the handle, just let me show you what the handle is. I use the handle a lot for things like adding to the body class so we can hang CSS off it, that kind of thing. I'm just going to go to the admin and I'm going to pick off a product, and it's going to be the mustache mug. Now handles are auto-generated for you in Shopify, and you'll find them towards the bottom of the admin page here. But you can change them, but it's kind of built upon the title that you give your particular product. So ours is mustache mug, and this has kind of made it URL safe by adding in the dash there and turning it to lowercase. So I'm just going to copy that because that's what I want to check for. Now if product handle, let's do contains mustache. So I'm not checking for the whole thing because we might have more than one mustache mug. I want to output a little greeting. So, you like tashes, eh? And then I'm going to close my end if there. So theoretically now, if I save that and we go to our mustache mug page, let's go to the store and pick off our mustache mug. You'll see that it says, so you like tashes, eh? Which is great. We've asked the question, does our product handle, which is mustache-mug, contain the word mustache? And if it does, then we output this particular piece of text. Now, just to prove that works, if I go back to Coffee Grinder, you'll see that that hasn't actually appeared. So that's another way that you can use an if statement. We could build on this by using the else. Now what else does, it allows us to offer up a default output if the condition that we've just asked, the question that we've just asked, isn't met. So if it doesn't contain mustache, then let's put out, hey you know you want a mustache related mug, and we could link that up to one of our mustache based mugs. So let's have a look. So in theory, if I refresh this page now, I should get a piece of text, because the condition wasn't met, that says, hey, you want a mustache related mug, which is terrible English, but there we go, it should prove the point. No, you want, there we go. So that's how we can control logic using the if statements. Now there's a couple of other things we could do. Let's just take that out so we keep our template nice and clean. Now, in our snippets folder is an include file that I use for the header. Now what we've got here is some comparisons for our cart, the number of contents in our cart. What we're actually saying there is using a filter to say if there's more than one, then output items, and if it's just one item, then just use item. That's using the pluralize filter. But we could do a check. So let's say something like this: if cart.item count, that's the number of items in our cart, sorry, is less than 1, so less than 0, let's say. Well, it won't be less than 0, less than 1. No, less than 1's good. Then, hey you, please buy something. And then let's close that off like so. Now, let's have a look. We actually have 2 items in our cart, so this shouldn't actually appear at this point. But if I go to my cart and I remove those, what you'll see is that that has now actually appeared because we've got 0 items in our cart. So we're prodding our customer there to go and buy something. So again, that's just another way that you can use an operator here, the less than, to output text based on a particular criteria. You'll find yourself using if statements quite a lot. You might use it in conjunction with a loop using the if for loop.first. So is it the first run round the loop? If so, then do something, otherwise do something else. You'll use the else statement an awful lot as well, as this will dictate the default output if the criteria is not met. Don't forget that you can compare by text, otherwise known as strings. You can compare by numbers, and you can also look for things like contains. Is that piece of text contained within a bigger piece of text? And that can come in really, really handy. So a couple of good places to look, as I've mentioned, are the cheat sheet by Mark Dunkley, and it's on the left hand side under the word operators. But you can also find details on how to use the if statement here as well, which is really useful. The other great place, of course, is the Shopify docs, which is docs.shopify.com/themes. Okay, that's a really quick overview of the if statement. You'll find yourself using it quite a lot, so it's a good thing to familiarize yourself with. But if it's made no sense at all, please do get in touch and I'll do my best to help you. My email address is kia@shopify.com, or you can find me on Twitter where my username is @KiaWhitaker. Thanks a lot.